Hey, my galactic brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode of Electrical Theology. This is Wednesday and it is Tarot Day. What we'll be doing forward is that we had enough foundational classes and we had enough next layer classes and understanding tarot, understanding that it's just ancient patterns. And once you understand the patterns or know how to form patterns or reform patterns or reframe your own words, then you'll be able to reform your own psychology and your own emotions, and you'll be able to take responsibility for those thoughts, actions, and emotions, guys. You'll be able to unfold the heart, the defended heart. You'll be able to basically be able to see the patterns that you're creating, and that's what the tarot does. It just represents the patterns that you're creating in your life via your thoughts. And here we're not looking at our thoughts being bad or good. We're just going to see, are they in the order in which you want to have your life in order? Or do you want it in chaos? Then when the cards will come out in chaos, right? If you want to know how or learn tarot, I'm developing a class right now. I'm getting it all set up to where it will be a paid program, either on Patreon or one of the other sites I use. But I'm setting all that up because I have a lot of people wanting of how I do tarot. And I've showed y'all from the secret grid that it's just ionic energy, and those ionic energies, we can then name them, right? But now we've brought it into the official or the superficial, from the supernatural into the natural into the superficial. So when you name something, it's now superficial, it's no longer deep. But what we can do is look at these superficial cards or patterns or ones and zeros or ions and see how we form them, and then we can unform them or reform them if we so choose, just by looking at the cards themselves or understanding what the cards or the patterns represent. And we'll go over a lot of spreads. You'll learn a lot more spreads and a lot more details in the private classes, and once I have that set up and ready, I'll make sure I'll bring that to y'all, because I know I have a lot of people wanting those. And I've taught this for a good 30-something years and always learning more and more and more about the patterns of the universe. So what we'll do today is we're going to do another reading like we did last time. Now, the protocols for reading tarot is nothing big. Everyone has their own version. There's no right or wrong to it, because there is no right or wrong in the universe. It's just energy flowing. So whatever works for you, I just randomly shuffle. And a lot of times I just find myself subconsciously dividing them into threes. Why? Because it's the universe. Why? It just feels right. There's no rules or regulations, guys. And whatever it is that you're wanting to understand, is understand that I look at it as health, wealth, and love, physical, mental, or spiritual, or mechanical, chemical, or electrical, earth realm, ancestral realm, the divine realms, the galactic, universal realms. These cards will give us the answers, right, that you're seeking, and most of the time it's just validating the answers you already know that's within you, the esoteric land within you. Right? So when you first set out, and when you're randomly mixing these cards up, you can sit there and focus, deep focus on what it is you want to see, right? And so we can say, okay, well, let's look at our financial, right? So let's do a financial reading, and then we'll sort of do an overall reading. Monday's class, the divine readings, is basically them coming through the other realms and then giving us an insight of what's happening on Earth on a bigger level, and then try to personalize it to some degree. Today we'll sort of focus on the health, wealth, and love, but today instead we'll just focus on the wealth. And normally the wealth cards are the coin cards or the rocks or the stones. This is all about grounding, foundational. It's all about money, security, finance, but we can focus and say, okay, I'm about to start a new business. How does the finance look? Or is the finance, and again, finance is money. Right? Money is just energy. Energy is just God. God is just Shambhala, our hierarchy, Shambhala, and that, this and that. Right? Again, it's just a formation of energy until it comes and manifests into our realm. This card is showing us how, so far, you've manifested it. Right? And we can do any reading we want, right? Depending on what you want. So we can look at the past, present, future, right? Where it's been, 3-card spread, right? The past, we can say, okay, show us how we've been looking at things. And depending on the cards, it'll help us understand, are we seeing our finances from a physical level, a mental level, or a spiritual level? Right? Are we looking at it from money is just energy? Are we looking at it that we have psychology around money or belief systems around money? And physically, is money the root of all evil? Or is it just a means to get what it is in this life of barter and trade? There is no fact or fiction to any of this stuff, guys. It's just showing you patterns. It's your interpretation of the patterns, right? And we've talked about this in former classes or in recent classes, that we have a life experience or event, and then we interpret that event, and then we give that event meaning, and then that causes, or this has an effect on our psyche, and then it causes us in our life to behave a certain way, and that behavior then creates the outcome. These cards are going to show us the outcome, right, and all in between, right, from inception to completion, the grid. So enough of that, let's just get started, and I'm just going to lay out an overall spread of a section of the grid. We're not using the whole grid, just a section of the grid. We're using 3, 6, and 9. Right? 3, if you will, in the future, 3 in the mental, and 3 in the physical realm. Right? Because we want to know, is money coming in? Do we need to hold on to it a little bit? Do we need to invest it? What's some of this stuff? I'm not giving you financial advice. It's your energy. Do with it what you want. But we'll spread it out. So again, it'll be electrical, chemical, mechanical, right? Or electrical, chemical, mechanical. And then spiritual, mental, physical, right? So let's just lay that out right now. So what we have first, and I do reverses. A lot of people won't do the reverse card, but I do. Because again, how is our verse coming in? Our vibrational patterns coming in. It's all the same, right? So we have a 3 of Wands here, right? 3 of Wands. So that's going to be in our spiritual future. And then we have mental future, and then physical future. And they're all in reverse. In one sense, they haven't come in, so it's like a light switch. It's off. It's down. Right? We haven't turned it on yet because it's the future, but it is coming in. So we have the Page of Pentacles, that's money, right? So we're looking for money, and that's a representation of money. We have the Knight in the physical. So again, there's movement in your future, right? And we'll get into the details, and then we'll just lay the rest of the cards out. 2 of Wands, 7 of Swords, Knight of Pentacles. There's our money again in the physical. And then we have the Chariot. We have the 4 of Pentacles, and then we have the 9 of Pentacles. And we can sort of give an overall reading of what's going on. Is that we have, it's laying, well, you know what, let's take it from a different deck, because I like to mix that energy up. We're going to take it from a different deck, and that card just flew out, so let's look at those 2 cards. I always look at cards that fly out, guys. All right, that one's upside down, there we go. So we got the 3 of Cups, the 6 of Cups, and 3 of Cups, right? So we'll just put those up here for right now, or if you want to see them, we'll put them over here. So 3 of Cups is about how we're receiving, right? Normally it's joyous occasion, right? 2 things that finally come together, and they're creating a third. And so that's prosperity or celebration in a sense. But there's an overflowing, an abundance, right? Where our cups are empty and it's ready to receive. And the 6 of Cups is normally a happy card as well. So we have, we're open to receiving happily. We're not scarce mentality. We're not begging for money, because money, again, is what? Energy, right? So we'll start over here. How, in our physical life, in the future, what's happening? So there's no movement right now. So if you're looking for movement coming in on money, it's not happening. I mean, it's happening behind the scenes, but it's not yet here. So that means an investment you put out or money that someone owes you is going to come in pretty soon. Swords are very fast-paced. It's mental, right? Which means that sword goes through quicker, goes through the elements pretty quickly. Right? It cuts right through the red tape. So a lot of stuff that you've been waiting on is going to come through, right? Now, it's not here yet. That's why it's upside down. It's in the reverse, right? It has to be turned on. How's it going to be turned on? By what we're sort of opening up to, back to the Cups. What we're open up to. Are you open for celebration? Are you whining or in scarce mentality about this money? So then we have upside down in reverse as well. We have the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles, again, is good because in the minor deck, again, this is minor. If there's a major card in Pentacles, then I would say, okay, yeah, it's going to happen pretty quick, and it's an abundance. Because it's a minor card and it is a Knight card, we still have the Queen and King to go. Now, when I'm saying King and Queen, normally I put the Queen last. A lot of the decks put the King last, and I don't, because even in the major, the Mother comes before the Father card, or the Empress comes before the Emperor. So in the minor deck, there shouldn't be any different there. And we all know that for every king, there's a queen running the things behind the show. Right? So for me, in order to have life, you have to have woman. So woman is the ultimate where man comes out of. That makes sense? So in the tarot, woman has more charge than man. And again, this isn't masculine and feminine from a earth-based sense. This is just a energy-based sense. So the Knight of Pentacles is not moving. It's not coming in. And this is the present moment. Remember, so future, present, and then past. So in the present, in the physical, it's not here. Right? Why? Because it's not coming in up there yet. You haven't opened up to it yet. Right? Because you're probably not happy. Why aren't you happy? Celebrate. Right? Is your house on fire? Is your car working? Are your legs working? Can you see? Right? There's a lot of stuff you can be grateful for, and go over my videos of gratitude and opening up to the realms of possibility. If you're not happy after that and understand the awe of life and how it is created, right? And if you're not taking gratitude every time you get down on yourself, take gratitude, and this will elevate the energy. Elevation is elevate the ions. So in order for higher frequencies to come in, like the Knights, you have to open up to them coming in. Mother energy, feminine energy, you have to be receptive. That's what the cups are. So in your head, go ahead and celebrate. The money's coming in. It's here, right? It may be at the post office. It may be waiting. It'll come out of nowhere. And someone will say, hey, remember that money you loaned me 3 years ago? It's here. Or they may say, hey, here's a check in the mail. There's a rebate to something. Something's coming in, or an investment finally pays off, right? Something you put money into and you're worried about it, but now it goes up in value. Why? Because you went up in value. You reevaluated your ions, right? So if you open up, and that's going to help all this energy come in. Now, if you look at it in the past, right, you got the Queen of Pentacles, right? And look at her, right? She's got everything. Her hands over her belly like she's pregnant. And there's a butterfly, which is transformation. So in the whatever work you've done in the past, and we'll just say from today backward, if you will, in the past, present, future. Again, for me, there is no past, present, future. It's all happening at once. The parade all happens at once. You know, the Thanksgiving Day parade, it's happening all at once. Right? No matter when you take a snapshot of that, it's all happening at once. If I'm on another planet looking at Earth, right, on spaceship Earth, right, everything's happening on Earth, I can look at it all at one time. Right? If I was omnipresent, I can look at everything, but everything, I can look at the Earth in a snapshot. Everything's happening all at one time. Is that making sense? All right, well, let's move on. So in the past, you're open up. You put an investment out there. You loan some money out to somebody, right? Or you help someone out and they die and they leave you an inheritance, right? We don't know what this is exactly, and we can get into detail to find out more about what it could be. But again, sometimes we don't want to spoil the front. Fine, just know that energy, money, is coming in. Why? Because you're opening up to it. Because you've been doing your work, right? You've been taking a close look at that esoteric life and understand that everything outside of you is just you. Now, what we have coming up in the mental realm in the future, why? It's the Page of Pentacles, right? It is reversed from my end, right? The peacock is about showing off a little bit, right? This could be showing your wares. This could be that you're beginning to put your artwork up in a show for the first time, right? And you're maybe a little insecure about it, right? Because art is it's your soul you're putting on, whatever medium you're putting it on, paint, macaroni noodles, whatever. And you're showing it to the public. And people are going to give their opinions about it. But those opinions are just a reflection. That's what's so great about art. Yes, you put your soul out there, but how people look at you is totally up to them. and how they look at your art is just a inner reflection. Right? Their opinion is just about who they are within. Right? So yeah, mentally prepare. Right? You need to get out there and start putting yourself out there. Put yourself, if you've been talking about putting yourself on YouTube, you've been studying for ever and ever and ever and watching 200 hours worth. At some point, you got to sit there and make your first video and put it out. You'll never be perfect. I'm never perfect. Don't want to be perfect. I'm just going to be me. That makes sense? And so I want to start showing off, which means I had to start putting myself up on YouTube. I've been teaching in front of audiences and TV and stuff like that for a long time. And now I'm just sort of doing it on my own on YouTube, which I can reach millions instead of maybe 50 people in a class. That makes sense? Or a seminar that may have a few thousand. I can reach millions this way. So that's why I'm transforming, just like this card did. I'm opening up and transforming, and I'm already celebrating my head, right? Even though this may take me, let's say, a year or two to get going, really picking up the numbers and the likes and subscribes and sharing it, right? But I'm not attached to immediate outcome, right? I'm looking at a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, right? If you give yourself permission that this is going to take some time, because if it all came at once, then are you fully prepared for that to happen? Are you ready to have 1 million subscribers, right? Are you set up financially, right? Do you have a bank account even, right? How are you going to take in $1 million if YouTube starts paying you this money, or even $50, or 500, or 5,000, or 50,000, right? Let's say you are a hit overnight, right? Are you prepared for all that? Is your ego ready for that? Is your mind ready for that? Right? Because right now, in the mental, or in the mental realm, in the present moment, right, we have 7 of Swords. And this guy's fought some battles, right? The 7 of Swords is all about, he's defending his territory. There's a big battle. Now, he still has 8, 9, and 10 to go. And he's sort of blocking the entrance, or he's looking back what's behind him. Right? And the Swords is about the mind. So what is your mindset? Right? Is your mindset in the present moment open and receptive, ready to receive what's about to come? Or are you fighting it the whole way? Right? You fought a few battles. There's 2 on the floor. Right? You still need to pick yourself up. So there's probably 2 things that's still in your head that still you're mulling over, you're percolating. Right? Well, it's time to open up, guys. It's time to open up that energy. Right? We got to go back and open up that energy. Celebrate. Right? Take that win. Yeah, you took a couple hits. Yeah, you had to transform. Yeah, you may have to close down a business or 2, right? Or you got fired. But this is giving you the opportunity to focus in on what it is you want financially. Right? What does financial freedom mean to you? Right. So let's go on to the 4 of Pentacles, which for me again is upside down. Right. So in the past, you had a secure job. You had something where money was security. Because look at it, he's holding on to it. You know, we'll say he's holding on to it pretty tight. And if you look up in that corner, there's a moon. Right? His dream was about doing this, but now that dream's not happening in the way it was anymore. It's transforming. And a lot of times, you know, when one thing shut down and you're not sure why it did, and you want to blame and fault other people, this is the work you have to do. This is the stuff you got to get over mentally. Is that your own internal esoteric self says there's something bigger for you out here. Right? You're ready for it. That's why it's happening. Right? You think the earth around you is changing, but the earth around us always changes. Climate's always changed. People always change. Greed is always here. Right? Scarcity is always here mentality. Right? Abundance is always here. People become rich during down times. People become poor during good times. Right? So what was in the past is no longer. So just give yourself permission to say, you know what, I am done with that. No longer is that going to happen. Because we want to get up here in 3 of Wands, which again for me is reversed, so it's not turned on. So you don't know if you're coming or going yet. Right? There's still confusion. You don't have clarity yet on what direction to take. Right? Because you're still thinking about 2 of the battles you've lost instead of looking at the ones you've won. Right? In this battle, cards flying out of my hand. And so the battle basically is that, yeah, you did a lot of good stuff, but just because 1 or 2 things didn't work out, why are you focusing on that? Focus on the things that you did do great, extract from that, and then integrate it into your new way of thinking, right? Your new transformational way of thinking. right? And here we are with another 2, which is also reversed for me, right? Because you're still trying to make a decision spiritually, right? In the present moment. So right now you're even thinking, should I do this or should I do that? Should I stay or should I go? A or B? That partner or that partner? Right? It could be whatever you want, but there's still 2 things you're still having to decide. Which is, in this case, what I'm seeing is that you're having to let go of something so you can open up to another. You have to uncouple from a person, place, or thing that you really love, right? Or hate, whatever this is for you, but you don't want to leave it because it's comfortable. Because when we come into the unknown, right, that scares a lot of people. But we don't. We need to open up and celebrate. Look at all that reception, right? There's plenty within you to receive what's about to happen, right? And then finally, also, the Chariot in the spiritual past is upside down, which means in the past you didn't have control over your own destiny, right? You weren't making your choices. These 2 cards are choices. What direction do I take? 3? Right? We had a 3 over here about what decisions, about celebration. Now we have 2 decisions to make in the spiritual realm, because they're both upside down. So all in all, what we have here is that open up. You have a creative project that's been on the back burner that's about to come in. Right? You got to make a decision. Do I quit my job or go part-time, even though that's my security, but I really want to show my artwork to the world, or I want to make YouTube videos? Can you do both? Can you reschedule? Can you transform your schedule? Can you put in extra hours? Right? Because in the past you did, and it wasn't balanced. You were working 50, 60 hours, and you still weren't able to do your thing. Right? And then that started taking a toll on the health. Right? There's some health stuff in here. And later on, once we do a few weeks of these, I'm going to have an extended, because there's a lot more information in here, but again, I'm giving a general reading to the general public, but I will give specific readings in the extended later on, so just know that that's coming in. But overall, there's a whole bunch of energy about to come in, but you have to open up and receive it by getting rid of the old thoughts that are no longer conducive. Get out of the relationships that no longer serve you, even though you may love them, but you have to consciously uncouple and then allow this energy to start moving in. That make sense? All right, guys. I think that'll about do it today. So every Wednesday we'll be doing tarot readings, and then eventually I have classes through whatever system, Patreon or one of these that I decide to go with. Again, I have to make a decision, right? Which one do I want to? There's a bunch of different platforms that I like, and it just depends on which one I want to do. And those are the decisions I'm making, and again, it depends. Do I want to do more videos or more classes, right? So I'm working through a bunch of stuff just like all of y'all are. And we're all going through the same thing energetically. But from what I'm seeing is there's a lot of abundance ready to come in pretty quickly, but you have to open up to it quickly. Which means do your work, meditate some more, and get over yourself. Here's a clue that I give you: is that if there's pain anywhere in the body, that's you holding on. Go into that pain and ask that pain, who are you, what are you, and why are you here? Because that's going to be associated with what it is that you're trying to get over, or let go of, or give your permission to allow it to flow. Right? All right, guys, that'll about do it. So I appreciate you hanging out with me. If you're new, I hope you appreciated this. If you do, tickle the algorithm. Robots love this stuff. Share it with your galactic friends. Let them know that it's here and your family friends here on Earth. And I look forward to seeing you next time.